Epic Games has consistently kept the Fortnite community running strong through various limited-time game modes that oftentimes were created as a result of collaborations with other ginormous companies. Seriously though, who doesn't love these collabs? We got to use several weapons straight from the Marvel Universe, and we even got the chance to buy the real John Wick skin, which can be pretty annoying for anyone that unlocked the original John Wick skin back in Season 3. At least now you can get this dirty version of John Wick with messed up hair and cuts for a low price of 2,000 V-Bucks. No one is going to rebuy a skin that already came out, Epic. I'm sorry. Anyway, alongside all of these collaborations, we normally receive new limited-time game modes, such as the recent Endgame game mode, where everyone got the chance to play as the Avengers, Chitauris, or even Thanos himself, which might have been the second time you ever got to play as Thanos if you've been playing the game for a while now. But that's not what we are here to talk about today. We are here to rank the best weapons that we've seen in these limited-time game modes and events. You may think that there were only Marvel weapons in the past, but we have a few other weapons up our sleeve that you might have forgotten about or never even had the chance to experience in-game. But before we get started, make sure to use our supporter creator code, ArcadeCloudPlays. It really helps our channel out. Okay, let's go. Number 5. The Fiend Hunter Crossbow. Okay, before you jump to any conclusions, I know the crossbows are known for being absolute garbage, especially because of their low damage and dysfunctional scopes, but this one is different. It's not the same as the first crossbow we saw in the game back in February of 2018 for Valentine's Day. Those literally shot arrows of love that dealt 2 damage, I swear. Now that thing was absolute trash. This one is completely revamped and could have helped you get a ton of loot in the limited-time Fortnitemares game mode that released around Halloween of 2018. Completely different than what Epic did in 2017 for Halloween, and even though I love the Skull Trooper, it was nothing compared to the Jack Gordon or Hollowhead skins. This time around, we even got 2 new game modes, Fortnitemares, which I already mentioned, and a game mode called Team Terror. Fortnitemares was basically regular Fortnite Battle Royale, but a little more scary. There was a heavy fog around the map to remind everyone that Halloween is right around the corner. And there were these giant purple crystals around the entire map. The crystals would spawn these zombies known as Fiends, and these creatures would drop a ton of loot for anyone that kills them. You can even destroy the crystals themselves to give you even more guns and ammo. The Fiend Hunter crossbow could be found throughout the map just like regular loot, and it was insanely overpowered if you decided to use it against these zombies. It was even extremely useful against enemies at a long distance because it made little to no noise and was very accurate. The only reason I didn't like this weapon too much is because it didn't do any damage to structures at all. So if you're shooting it, the enemy player has to be put out in the open, which is pretty rare nowadays considering how much people like to build. Number 4. The Infinity Blade. Who doesn't like giant swords? I know me and all my friends do, but sadly this powerful sword wasn't in the game for very long. When it first came out in Season 7, the sword was only found in the center of Polar Peaks. If you're lucky and manage to pick it up, then you will immediately receive 200 shield and 200 health. You will also have a small regeneration of 1 health per second, which can be extremely useful if you are low after a battle, since you'll always be fighting at such a close range. This weapon is considered a mythic weapon in Battle Royale and was actually vaulted only after 4 days after its release, which was pretty annoying honestly. No one really got the chance to enjoy the sword, even if it was broken. However, on February 15th, the sword made a comeback through the limited-time game mode known as Sword Fight. Only epic and legendary weapons can be found in this game mode, but you once again had the chance to get this amazing-looking sword. It was available for everyone to get through a chest if you're lucky, rather than there only being one in the entire lobby. This weapon was featured in the Unvaulting event, which players supposedly chose what weapon they wanted to get unvaulted. Sadly, the sword didn't win and the drum gun got brought back instead. Number 3. The Chitauri Laser Rifle. Do you even know what a Chitauri is? If you aren't familiar with Marvel movies, or never got the chance to watch Infinity War, then you've probably only ever seen these evil minions in Fortnite. You might want to watch the movies, because in Fortnite they make them look so much better than they actually are. Somehow Epic was able to make them look very clean-cut and almost human-like, but they are quite the opposite. That's probably mainly because you can't really get a good look at their face though, since you know, the whole third-person thing, you can only see your character from the back. And it's not like the Chitauri is a skin, you can't view it in the locker. Anyway, in the recently added endgame limited-time game mode, if you were on the Chitauri team, you were granted 2 Chitauri guns. One was called the Chitauri Laser Rifle, and it was very strong. This gun shot lasers crazy fast as the Avengers, and it was also perfectly accurate. While the Avengers did have auto-aim on several of their weapons, These lasers were insane for long range. Most of the Avengers' weapons you had to be in a close-range battle to actually deal serious damage, but this laser could destroy anyone from miles away. This weapon, like the Infinity Blade, is considered a mythic and it was introduced in the game in version 8.5. The only real problem I had when I used this weapon in endgame was the fact that it was constantly overheating on me, just like the minigun. So if it decided to overheat when I was getting pushed by one of the Avengers, I was screwed. And there was absolutely nothing I could do about it. I could use my jetpack, but that won't get me very far considering weapons like Thor's hammer have a ridiculous auto-aim. Number 2. Captain America's Shield. You might be wondering why we rank this weapon out of all of the Avengers weapons in the number 2 spot. Well, think about all the abilities you have when you have this shield equipped if you are in the endgame limited time game mode. Sadly, we never saw this weapon in the previous Infinity Gauntlet game mode, but that's alright. Fortnite was still a little baby around that time, and having just the Infinity Gauntlet alone was a massive change. When the endgame mode came out, Captain America's shield was immediately my favorite for a variety of reasons. For one, it was insanely overpowered in literally any situation. If you're being shot at from far away, all you had to do was block the lasers or bullets until you were safe. If someone was right in front of you, well, then you can throw the shield and it will hit every single time thanks to its auto-aim. I remember there was one game I played where there was only one Avenger left, but because he had this shield, he managed to stay alive much longer than he should have. All he did was hop around the map with his shield, protecting himself from any lasers being shot at him. It's smart. Number 1. The one and only Infinity Gauntlet. When Epic Games began to gain an insane amount of popularity for Fortnite, they were able to score a collaboration with Marvel. If you played back in May of 2018, then you probably played the Infinity Gauntlet limited time game mode, where Epic Games broke records and gathered attention from all around the world. When Epic first brought the Infinity Gauntlet to the game, they didn't mention much about the Infinity Stones or even explain what kind of power they possess. All you had to do was go grab this giant gold glove and the next thing you know, you're a giant almighty purple dude. I mean, come on guys, not everyone saw Infinity War at the time. That didn't matter too much though. Everyone seemed to love the ability to launch up into the sky and shoot lasers. Thankfully, when Epic redid the collab with Marvel, they decided to incorporate the Infinity Stones into the actual limited time game mode known as Endgame, which is named after the movie, if you can't obviously tell. Each Infinity Stone this time around could be collected by the Chitauri or even Thanos himself, and they made Thanos more and more powerful every time one was collected, which may not have any correlation with the actual movies because the stones in the comics have a completely different effect. But you know what? It's the thought that counts. They really did make the game mode as best as possible the second time around though. I wasn't disappointed at all. I just thought it was a little harder to actually get the chance to play as Thanos, but that didn't matter too much because of everything else they added. Well, that's a wrap on the top 5 best limited time weapons in Fortnite. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to the countdown for even more awesome gaming content. Thanks guys, and I'll see you in the next one.